Okay, so today we're going deep on Reykjavik.
Reykjavík.
Iceland.
Yeah.
We're going way past like the usual tourist stuff, you know.
Right, beyond the top 10 lists.
Exactly. And for this one, we're using this document someone sent in. It's just called like Untitled Document.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, keeping it simple.
But honestly, this city, it just seems like such a cool mix of like nature,
Oh, yeah.
like modern stuff.
Totally, and the document really plays that up.
Yeah, like cutting edge buildings with like volcanoes and glaciers in the background. I mean,
It's not something you see every day.
not at all. And,
Yeah.
and then there's the food too. Like I'm seeing skyr, which sounds
Really fantastic.
amazing, but also fermented shark.
Ah, yes, the hockerel.
That one it's an experience.
That's one word for it. Intrigued, I guess.
Yeah, you have to be a little adventurous.
So maybe we should start with like what this document calls Reykjavik's vibe.
Yeah, it says it's like urban excitement meets breathtaking natural beauty.
Right, and I feel like a lot of cities try to do that, but they usually end up more one than the other.
Totally. It's like they can't quite.
Yeah, either the nature's an afterthought or the city feels kind of sterile.
This document, though, it makes it sound like Reykjavik actually nails it.
It does, and I think it comes down to how they've designed the city.
Oh, how so?
Well, like they've actually incorporated the landscape into the architecture.
So it's not just like plopping down buildings. It's like,
It's more integrated. You know, they use a lot of natural materials. The buildings have these like clean lines that kind of echo the surrounding mountains.
I'm picturing it now like the city's almost an extension of the natural environment,
Exactly, and the document even calls it a city of contrasts.
which makes sense. Like we were saying, it's both urban and wild, modern and ancient.
And that's kind of what makes it so fascinating. You get all these different perspectives in one place.
So let's talk about some of the specifics then, like places people have to see.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I was looking at this Hallgrímskirkja church. It's got this wild architecture.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
It's like inspired by basalt columns.
Those hexagonal rock formations you see all over Iceland.
Right, so it's like a modern take on this ancient natural form.
Exactly, and the church itself, it's this towering structure. You can see it from pretty much anywhere in the city.
It's like a landmark then.
Totally. It was actually designed to be a beacon visible for miles around.
Makes sense in a place like Iceland where the landscape can be pretty unforgiving.
Oh, definitely.
Ah.
It was meant to be a symbol of guidance and strength.
So it's not just pretty, it's like practical too.
Exactly, form and function.
And speaking of striking structures, there's that Harpa concert hall on the waterfront.
Oh yeah, with that reflective facade, it's like a jewel.
Right, it looks so modern and sleek.
It is, but again, there's a connection to nature there.
Really?
Yeah, the design,
Oh.
it's inspired by those same basalt formations we were talking about.
Oh wow, I see it now, like those geometric glass panels.
They reflect the sky and the sea. It's like this ever-changing play of light and color.
Kind of like those basalt columns catching the light.
Exactly, and there's a cool story behind the hall, too. Well, its construction was actually delayed because of the 2008 financial crisis.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a tough time for Iceland, but they were determined to finish it.
So it became like a symbol.
Yeah, symbol of resilience and hope. It finally opened in 2011 to huge acclaim.
That's awesome. So it's not just a pretty building, it's got like this deeper meaning.
Absolutely. It represents something about the spirit of the city.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about some landmarks, but what about getting a sense of the whole city, like its layout and how it fits into the landscape?
Well, for that, you have to go to Pearland.
Caroline, that's the...
Yeah, it's this building with a glass dome. It has an observation deck that gives you 360-degree views of the whole city.
Oh, wow. So you can see like everything.
Pretty much you can see the colorful rooftops of the city center, the harbor, the ocean, and then in the distance you've got these volcanic peaks running the horizon.
Okay, that sounds like exactly what I'm looking for, like that aha moment where you finally get the big picture.
You definitely get that at Pearland. It's a great way to appreciate that blend of urban and natural that we keep talking about.
So speaking of nature, let's move on to the adventures.
All right, let's do it.
This document mentions the Golden Circle Tour, which sounds,
Classic Iceland.
yeah, like geysers, erupting waterfalls, cascading,
You get to see so much in a short amount of time.
and then there's the ice caves. Like who wouldn't want to explore a natural ice palace?
They're incredible.
But what makes the Icelandic ones so special? Are they different from other ice caves?
Yeah, so these caves, they're formed by glaciers, which are constantly moving and melting.
So the caves are always changing.
Exactly, and that creates these amazing blue and crystal formations that you won't find in other types of ice caves.
It's like stepping into this otherworldly environment.
And it's temporary too, because the glaciers are always shifting. The caves can disappear or new ones can form.
Wow, so it's like a fleeting beauty.
Exactly. It makes the experience even more special.
And of course, we can't forget the northern lights.
Ah, the aurora borealis.
The document makes it sound like they're pretty much a guaranteed spectacle in Reykjavik.
Well, it depends on the time of year and the solar activity.
But Reykjavik is a good place to see them.
Yeah, it's far enough north and there's not much light pollution, so on a clear night you have a pretty good chance.
I can only imagine how incredible it would be, like those dancing lights across the sky.
It's truly magical. It makes you feel so small in the face of nature's power.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that even in a city as modern as Reykjavik, you're still subject to the whims of nature.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered the sights, the adventures now. Let's talk about food.
All right, time to eat.
So this skyr that the document mentions, it sounds like a must-try,
Oh, you have to try skyr. It's like a thicker, creamier version of yogurt.
and it's Icelandic.
Yeah, it's been a staple of their diet for centuries.
So it's not just trendy, it's like a traditional food.
Exactly. And it's super healthy, too high in protein and low in fat.
I'm sold on that one. But then there's hakko.
Ah, yes, the fermented shark.
I have heard things.
I bet you have.
Like, is it really as intense as everyone says?
Intense is one way to put it. It has a very strong ammonia-like smell. And the taste is, well, it's unique.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Not really, but it's important to remember that hakkarl is more than just a weird food.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it has deep roots in Icelandic culture.
How so?
Well, centuries ago, when food preservation was difficult, they figured out that fermenting shark meat would make it last longer.
So it was a survival technique.
Exactly. And over time, it became a traditional dish, something they ate for special occasions.
Huh. So eating hakkarl is like connecting with Icelandic history.
Precisely, it's about experiencing a part of their heritage, even if it's a little challenging for modern palates.
See, that's what I love about this deep dive. It's not just about the what, it's about the why.
Yeah, you get the full context, the story behind the food, the buildings, the landscape.
It makes everything so much more meaningful. Okay, so before we wrap up, we should probably touch on some practical stuff.
All right, the need-to-know info.
So the document says the best time to visit is summer.
Makes sense, you get longer days and warmer weather.
Though I guess it's probably still pretty chilly.
Well, it's Iceland, it's never going to be tropical, but summer is definitely the most pleasant time to be there.
All right, good to know. And currency is the Icelandic krona.
Right, and you'll be happy to know that English is widely spoken.
No, that's always a plus. And for packing essentials, they recommend warm clothes, waterproof gear, sturdy shoes.
Sounds about right. Iceland's weather can be unpredictable, so it's best to be prepared for anything.
Makes sense, be prepared for anything. That's a good motto in general.
I think so.
So based on all this, it seems like Reykjavik is a pretty versatile city.
Oh, absolutely. It caters to all sorts of travelers.
Like if you're into urban exploration, you've got those amazing landmarks, the concert hall, the museums.
But if you're more of an outdoorsy type, there's the Golden Circle, the ice caves, hiking trails, whale watching.
And even if you're somewhere in between like me, you can kind of do a bit of everything.
Exactly. You can tailor your trip to fit your interests and comfort level.
And maybe your tolerance for fermented shark.
That too.
All right, so to sum it all up, Reykjavik is a city where dramatic landscapes collide with modern design, where you can experience both urban excitement and the raw power of nature.
It's a place that challenges your perceptions of what a city can be.
We've got iconic architecture like Hallgrímskirkja and Harpa, incredible natural wonders like those ice caves and the northern lights.
And of course, you have to try the food, the delicious sky, or the adventurous hakkarl.
It's all about pushing your boundaries, expanding your horizons.
And it makes you think, what would it be like to actually live in a place where those boundaries between city and nature are so blurred?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely got me thinking.
It makes you reconsider the possibilities of urban life.
Well, this deep dive has definitely convinced me that Reykjavik is a place I need to see for myself.
I highly recommend it.
And hey, maybe I'll even give that hakkarl another thought.
To each their own.
That's right, to each their own. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Reykjavik. Until next time, keep exploring.
Happy travels.